Beautiful places avoided by people. Number 1. Longyearbyen, Norway. Longyearbyen, situated in the Svalbard archipelago, is a tiny Norwegian metropolis with 2,400 residents from almost 53 different countries. The polar bears are never far away, so it's a necessity to carry weapons when inhabitants venture outside the settlement. The climate is harsh and unpredictable with only one grocery store. During the winter darkness, the locals wear a headlamp on the way to work. Seeing whales swimming in the fjord from the lounge window is not an uncommon occurrence. As per Longyearbyen policy, death has been banned here since the 1950s. If someone's suspected to be close to dying, they have to be flown to the mainland. The reason behind this is because it was found that the bodies of the dead that were buried weren't decomposing. Also, scientists found a body of a human who had passed in 1918 from influenza still contained the virus, fully preserved. With freezing conditions and inquisitive local wildlife, living in Longyearbyen can be challenging. Number 2. Asakic Falls, Philippines. This magnificent falls flowing down a lush green mountain wasn't discovered up until 2010. The government later developed this place to attract tourists. Still, reaching there is not an easy task. One has to take a half-an-hour bumpy motorbike ride and then climb down 376 stone steps to get sight of this stunning cascade. This is a very unique falls, as the water cascade flows from many cracks formed on the wall of the mountain. It falls directly to the tributary of Almanda River. Number 3. Tristan de Cunha, British Overseas Territory. Tristan de Cunha is a British overseas territory, home to 241 British citizens, making it one of the most remote inhabited islands in the world. The only way to reach Tristan is by ship, a 6-day journey from Cape Town. The island has a high school and a health center. But islanders having serious medical issues, including expectant mothers, have to take a 6-day journey to Cape Town to get treated. The islanders rely largely on their own livestock, poultry, and grow their own vegetables privately. Immigration to Tristan is not allowed unless the applicant has a family connection. Number 4. Oyuyncon, Russia. This tiny village of 500 residents is tucked away in a remote corner of Siberia. It is the coldest inhabited place on Earth. It takes 2 days to arrive by car from Yakutsk, the nearest major city, which is 576 miles away. The temperature here is below zero most part of the year and the average temperature is minus 58 degrees Celsius. There is only one shop to provide supplies to the people. The village's heating plant works through day and night to pump hot water through the pipes of the village. The extreme cold makes it difficult to grow anything, so the residents survive mostly on meat of horse, reindeer, and Arctic fish. The weather makes it difficult to dig graves, so the ground is warmed with bonfire before burial. The people use heated garages for their cars and leave their car running, otherwise the cars will not restart. Locals use pits covered by shacks for toilets, as plumbing is not possible in the frozen ground. Yakutsk is the nearest city to Oyuyncon, which also has similar condition. But people in Yakutsk are wealthy. This is because Yakutsk have plentiful resources like gas, oil, and diamond. But Oyuyncon lacks natural resources. They rely on animal husbandry and municipal work for living, such as working in local heating plants. Number 5. Itoka Corto, Greenland. Itoka Corto, with 450 inhabitants, is one of world's most remote villages with no cars or mobile phone signal available. It is a very remote place, frozen for most part of the year with temperature low as minus 20 degrees Celsius. Their main source of income is from fishing and whale hunting. People carry weapon as a precaution as polar bears prowl the area. Parcels from Amazon arrive by charter plane once every 2 months from Iceland. During peak winter, the sea is a blanket of ice, and one can go fishing by making a hole on the ice surface. Number 6. Kerguelen Islands, French Southern and Antarctic lands. The Kerguelen Islands is a group of islands in the southern Indian Ocean, administratively, a part of French Southern and Antarctic lands. It is very far away from any civilization and is a territory of France. It takes 28 days from Réunion to reach the island, half of them at sea and half on land. Because of extreme weather conditions and remoteness, not many people live or visit this place. Number 7. Socotra Island, Yemen. The Socotra archipelago lies in the Indian Ocean with a population of 50,000. Socotra archipelago is one of the most isolated continental fragments on Earth, a piece of Africa adrift at sea. Socotra is home to some of the weirdest-looking plants that are found nowhere else on the planet. The long geological isolation of the Socotra archipelago and its fierce heat and drought have combined to create a unique and spectacular endemic flora. The island environment is challenging and often hostile. The majority of the islanders depend mainly on fishing and their livestock for survival. Socotra's first hospital didn't open until 2012. Because of Yemeni civil war that started in 2015, tourism to Socotra Island has been affected. Number 8. Barrow, Alaska. The town of Barrow is the northernmost town in the U.S., about 320 miles north of the Arctic Circle. Barrow experiences polar night every year, from November to January. That means that once the sun sets in November, residents won't see daylight for 2 months. Barrow is not connected by road to the rest of Alaska, and the only way to get there is by plane. Cost of living is very high in Barrow, due to high cost of transporting goods to this remote place. More than 4,000 people live here and survive largely by hunting whales, seals, and catching fish. The average high temperature during winter remains below zero. Number 9. Poveglia. Poveglia is an 18-acre triangle-shaped island in the Venetian lagoon 3 miles south of Venice. Poveglia was first inhabited in 421 by people who fled the barbaric invaders in the mainland. For centuries this small community lived in peace, but their population dwindled by 14th century. The island was abandoned once again. The bubonic plague arrived in Venice and Poveglia in 1348, and Poveglia became a quarantine colony. It was also used as a mass burial ground, where some 160,000 victims are thought to have been cremated to stop the spread of the disease. It has been said that human ash makes up more than 50% of the island's soil. The plague killed 1 out of 3 Europeans. Later, a hospital for the mentally ill was opened in 1922 and allegedly, the patients were cruelly treated and gruesome experiments, including lobotomies, were conducted on the patients. The hospital finally closed in 1968. No wonder Poveglia is considered as one of the most haunted places in the world. Today, Poveglia remains strictly off-limits to locals and visitors.